We're guessing by now you've heard all about this gender pay gap stuff in the news and even around the organisation. At first glance, it can all seem rather confusing and maybe a little painful, but used to its full potential, the gender pay gap reports are actually a pretty valuable tool for assessing the levels of equality in the workplace, female and male participation, and how effectively talent is being maximised. But that's starting to sound a little daunting. So for the moment, let's just explore what the gender pay gap is and demystify some of the report's figures and findings. Let's start with the key question. What is the gender pay gap? Well, it's the equality measure that shows the difference between the average earnings of men and women. It's not equal pay reporting, that's different. Equal pay deals with the pay differences between men and women who carry out the same jobs or work of equal value. The gender pay gap shows the differences in the average pay between all men and all women across all roles in the organisation. The government has called for all businesses who employ more than 250 people to publish their own findings by March 2018 to show the mean and median averages of the gender pay gap, the mean and median averages of the gender bonus gaps, the proportion of men and women who received bonuses, and the proportions of male and female employees in each pay quartile. It's all gone technical, hasn't it? Well, let's talk about these mean and median gaps. The mean and median figures that companies are required to report are averages. The mean being found by adding together everyone's salaries or bonuses and then dividing that figure by the number of employees included. The median is simply the middle figure if you listed everyone's wage from low to high and captured the salary slap bang in the centre. Bonuses are then looked at in the same way, but also by looking at the proportion of women and men who receive them in the first place. Finally, it gets really clever, and the proportions of men and women in each pay quartile is shown. In other words, splitting the workforce into 4 groups based on their pay. The calculations to get the actual percentages that businesses will be reporting on is rather involved, and if you ever find yourself at a loose end, you can visit the government website to learn more about it. But right now, let's just talk about what we need to know from the percentages you may see published here, there, and everywhere, really. If a company reports a positive percentage for their pay or bonus gap, it means that averagely speaking, male employees are paid a higher wage or bonus than female ones. Conversely, if a company presents a negative percentage, then again speaking as an average, the male employees have a lower wage or bonus payment than the female employees. Let's say that a company had no gaps between the sexes. They'd report a 0% pay gap. We don't envisage many 0% happening just yet. In fact, most companies will be reporting positive percentages, meaning that the average of all employees shows the males earning more or receiving higher bonuses than the females. But hold that thought. A little bit of knowledge can be dangerous, so let's briefly explore how the pay gap is caused. Remember how I said that the pay gap wasn't the same as equal pay? Well, that's key, because the pay gap is skimming all male and female wages across the whole organisation. It isn't showing the difference in just comparable jobs, it's taking into account all jobs. And as we know, some jobs will have higher financial rewards than others. The truth of the matter is that research shows that a higher proportion of women, over men, will choose occupations that offer less financial reward. So that's just one element that's contributing to the pay gap, and it's not the only contributor. Many high-paying sectors are disproportionately made up of male workers. For example, there are more men working in information technology than there are women, so there are more men to choose from when it comes to those big buck positions. There's also a much higher proportion of women working part-time, and it's no surprise that on average, part-time workers earn less than their full-time counterparts. As you can see, there are many factors that cause the gender pay gap, but one of the biggest contributors is a real lack of inclusive culture. Inclusion isn't the new buzzword for diversity, it's far deeper than that. It's about prompting the whole organisation to think strategically about the difference that could be made by fostering thought diversity. It's about getting leaders to be slightly humbler around their capability to judge future performance. And it's about every individual recognising how easily we can be hijacked by our past history, our biases, and what's going on in the rest of our lives. Let's be frank, you're never going to solve the gender pay gap by just putting in legislative differences, or even the odd women's development programme. You need to take the whole organisation with you on this one, and PDT are the specialists to help you do that. PDT Global can help you to solve your inclusion and diversity challenges by exploring the issues behind any pay gap difference. They offer consultancy, face-to-face training and live virtual classrooms too. Looking for dynamic digital alternatives or tech-enabled embedding options? Look no further. PDT Global has a host of digital nudges, micro-learning experiences and full e-programs that really work. So why not contact them today to discuss what could work for you and take advantage of their free demo sneak peeks. Psst, you could even give them a call to purchase a copy of this video or a similar bespoke one with your own logo and without the cheeky sales spiel.